Welcome in to the Ravens Rundown, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. So glad to have you with us on today's show. We have the latest Baltimore Ravens news and rumors that we will get to as the Ravens have the day off, a Sunday where we all get to kind of just sit back and watch everyone else play football today. We will dive into all of those in just 1 second from right now. Before we do that, though, I want to know, with where the Ravens are positioned in the AFC North, if you think the Ravens will win the division, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to make things real simple on you. All you have to do is like today's video. If you think the Ravens will win the division, like today's video. The AFC North with the Bengals, Browns, the Steelers and company. If you believe in this team and think they're going to get the job done and win the division, smash that like button and show some love for your Baltimore Ravens here on the bye week. We begin today as we are talking about OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr., and a new report out this morning from ESPN's Adam Schefter that OBJ has narrowed his list down to 5 teams, and they do not include the Baltimore Ravens. This feels like college recruiting, doesn't it? When we see guys go through the high school recruiting cycle, and here's my top 4 teams or top 5 teams. Please respect my decision. No interviews. You know, that type of thing. That's what it feels like we're going through with OBJ at this point. But according to Schefter, the Ravens are not in the mix after just a few days ago. We heard a report from ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, a colleague of Adam Schefter, say that the Ravens seemed like a good fit for OBJ. The final 5 teams for OBJ include the Dallas Cowboys, the Buffalo Bills, the San Francisco 49ers, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the New York Giants. The silver lining, I guess, for the Ravens is that none of the 5 teams that are listed are within their division. And the Bills and Chiefs would be the only AFC teams, but, of course, those 2 teams are some of the favorites in the AFC. So the rich potentially could get richer. So with OBJ apparently not coming to Baltimore, that seems like that is over at this point. The question becomes, well, now what? What does this team do now as you lost Rashad Bateman, and now you go forward trying to make this receiver room work because, you know, some people would say, well, you just try to figure out and see where the season goes. You've already committed to going all in on this year with the trade you made for Roquan Smith just a week or so ago now. And so, with that said, you know, OBJ, this is a guy that I think is going to have an instant impact, assuming he's 100% healthy, to whatever team he goes to next. I think they're going to be very happy to have OBJ on their squad with the numbers that he put up in 2021, coming off, switching teams and everything. He was a big part of the Rams Super Bowl success. They wouldn't have won the Super Bowl without him. He'll have an impact somewhere, but I guess it's not going to be Baltimore. And so then, you know, I look at this and I'm not surprised by this, of what has gone forward, of the Ravens not getting OBJ. This isn't a huge shock to the system by any stretch, but now you look at possible scenarios, and I think that the Ravens are going to just hold serve as is. They had plenty of trade options they could have done before the trade deadline of some really good receivers they could have brought in, but I just don't see that being what the Ravens are going to do at this point. Now, sure, there's some decent receivers still in the free agent market beyond even OBJ. I mean, you're talking about Will Fuller, T.Y. Hilton, Allen Hurns, and there's a number of guys that retired, like Emmanuel Sanders and Cole Beasley, that maybe you could convince to come out of retirement. But at this juncture and where the Ravens are at, I think they are what they are. They're going to kind of go with what they have at this point, despite Rashad Bateman being out for the year. We'll see what they can get out of Deshaun Jackson and the rest of that crew and kind of see where things go from there. Here is the Ravens depth chart where things stand right now with this group going forward. And Devin Duvernay is going to be your top receiver, leading the way for now, with Demarcus Robinson being your number 2 wide receiver. Tylan Wallace is your number 4-3 receiver, whatever it may be. He and James Prochet kind of go back and forth, whatever it is. And when Deshaun Jackson is 100% healthy, obviously he's hurt right now, so we'll see where he mixes in eventually. But he'll join that fold, and that's what it's going to be. Look, I like D-Rob as my number 3 or number 4, but it is a little concerning when Demarcus Robinson is your number 2 guy. But nonetheless, that's what the Ravens are going to do at this point in time. So we'll see how it works out for them. So the next question then becomes, of those teams that were mentioned or someone else that was mentioned, who is going to sign OBJ at this point in time? Who is going to be that team? Let me know in the comment section. I'm very curious. Do you think he ends up, after all, in Baltimore, or does he end up somewhere else? One of those teams that we talked about earlier. Let me know in the comment section who will sign OBJ. Name one team for me who you think is going to end up with the former Pro Bowl receiver when it's all said and done. Where is OBJ ultimately going to go? Let me know in the comment section below. Let's talk about Charlie Kolar now. Kolar, the 4th-round draft pick by the Ravens, has missed all of 2022 so far this year after dealing with a sports hernia injury. The Ravens got some good news that he was activated to the roster and is expected to make his debut in the coming week, sooner rather than later. And we heard from John Harbaugh within the last couple of days, as well as the player personnel director for the Ravens, Joe Horzitz, talk about Charlie Kolar. Let's see what they had to say, because they said nothing but positive things here. Here's Harbaugh. He said he's looked really good. He's a young player, and he's missed a lot of time during training camp, so he's still developing. But he's out there, and he looks good. He's so talented. He's so big, and he has great hands. He wants to do well. He's very contentious. He had 3 good weeks of practice, so I anticipate him being brought up this week. I can't speak for Eric DeCosta on that, but that's how we're talking right now. Now, we have to find a way to do it, which is a challenge, but I expect Charlie to contribute this year. That's from Harbaugh. Now, from the player personnel director, here's what Joe had to say. Kolar and Mark, referring to Mark Andrews, so you see a lot of similarities. The spatial feat that Mark had. Now, Mark, again, we're talking about a first-team All-Pro exceptional player. Mark had spatial awareness, was legit coming out. That's really the one thing you can hang your hat on, because really you didn't know how fast he was. He ran a little bit faster, and Charlie kind of did the same thing. He ran a little faster than you thought he'd run, and it's just a big man who's athletic. So some high praise, as you can see there, from the Baltimore staff. And I'll tell you what I think about Charlie Kolar in just a second. As you can imagine, it's going to be pretty positive. But here's your chance to weigh in. Will Charlie Kolar have an impact this season? Is that a realistic expectation for a rookie coming off an injury? What do you think? Let me know in the comments section. Type Y for yes, type in for no if you think that Charlie Kolar is going to have an impact this season. It's okay. You can be honest with me. If you don't think that he's going to be good right away, that's fine. Let me know in the comment section. Will Charlie Kolar have an impact this season right away? Type Y for yes, type in for no if you think Charlie Kolar is going to have an impact this season or not. Now, every day on this channel, folks, we are doing nonstop Baltimore Ravens coverage, whether it's the latest news and rumors, whether it's free agency, injury updates. We had a great watch party for the Saints game, about a week or so ago. We get it all in one place. And so if you're a true Ravens fan, if you love this team and want to know exactly what's going on with it, we're the place to be. The Ravens flock lives here on the Ravens Rundown each and every day, and it is my pleasure to bring you Ravens coverage like no one else does. Subscribe now, youtube.com/RavensTV, and you'll be glad you did. youtube.com/RavensTV. Now, I got to tell you, I love Charlie Kolar a lot. To me, this is somebody that I liked even more than I did Isaiah Likely coming out of college. And what's funny is when I was scouting him when he was playing for Iowa State, I said to myself, this guy looks like Mark Andrews. And sure enough, he ends up in Baltimore, and now he's playing alongside Mark Andrews too, and adding in Isaiah Likely here. This is a huge deal for the Ravens to have Charlie Kolar. And I think that he is going to be, folks, give him a little bit of time, learn the system a bit. and he is going to be a huge threat for this team. His background, we mentioned, fourth-round pick out of Iowa State, three-time first-team All-Big 12 performer. He was out of Norman, Oklahoma, wanted to play for the Sooners like Mark Andrews did, and wasn't even recruited by Lincoln Riley in that Oklahoma team. Ends up going to Iowa State, and I bet they would have wished they would have ended up bringing him in to Norman based on the way he played. He's also got a very high football IQ. This is a guy that won the academic Heisman last season as well, the William V. Campbell Trophy winner. The depth chart for the Ravens, as you can see, Kolar will have to work his way up, earn some playing time. Andrews and Likely are your top two guys. Obviously, Nick Boyle is still around, Oliver as well. But I think once Charlie Kolar gets a hang of things for how it's all going for him, he's going to be somebody that is going to be a force to be reckoned with for a long time. I'm excited to see what he brings to the table for this Baltimore Ravens team. So I want to know, when you look at this tight end room for the Ravens, with Andrews, Likely, Kolar, and company, how would you grade the Ravens tight end room? For me, it looks like the best in football. This group is so good and isn't even close to reaching their full potential yet, and it's already the best in football. It's only going to get better. How would you grade it for me? I think that's what also makes things feel better about the wide receiver position is, sure, it has its flaws, but the tight end room is so good that it makes up for a lot of what lacks in the wide receiver room. Grade it for me. ABC, DRF. Let me know in the comment section below. As always, you can follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everything in between at Tyler Jones Live, talking about your Baltimore Ravens on all of those social media platforms. And I will see you next time right here on the Ravens Rundown. Thanks for joining us.